Good afternoon, and welcome to our tour. Today we're going to go on a brief trip around the world, experiencing some world cultures and some fun places to visit. We are going to explore some popular places to travel, and while we are there, we will learn about some of the history and diversity of the local cultures. We will begin our journey in Honolulu, Hawaii, then visit some local beaches, get a view of one of the most active volcanoes on the planet, and even experience a Polynesian cultural center. From there, we will travel to Tokyo, Japan, where we will explore their impressive cityscape, spiritual landmarks, and awe-inspiring mountainous peaks. We'll leave Japan and travel to Greece, where we will be immersed in the rich history and architecture of one of the oldest and best preserved anthropological sites. Before we reach our journey's end, we make a stop in London, England, to witness some of the most iconic tourist locations in the world, including the Tower of London, the Buckingham Palace. So sit back, enjoy your tour around the world.
Aloha, welcome to Hawaii.
Aloha, welcome to Hawaii. Aloha, welcome to Hawaii. Aloha, welcome to Hawaii. Aloha.
You have landed in the beautiful city of Honolulu, which is the capital and the largest city of Hawaii. Honolulu's name came from the native words Hana, meaning a bay, and Lulu, meaning sheltered. After being explored and visited by Europeans in the 1780s, American missionaries and whalers were the ones who built Honolulu originally, bringing trade, commerce, and prosperity that led to the expansion of the sugar and pineapple industries. Today, tourism is the city's main industry, followed by federal expenditures and agricultural exports. Let's get started. Our first stop is visiting the beaches of Hawaii. Hawaii is a worldwide vacation spot known for its beautiful islands lined with beaches of sand, warm weather, and crystal clear water. Many tourists come to Hawaii's beaches to relax and enjoy the sun, the waves, and the swaying palms. The beautiful waters also allow for many water activities, including snorkeling, scuba diving, surfing, and fishing. The beaches also come in multi-colors, including white sand, green sand, red sand, and black sand. With weather near perfect 365 days out of the year, Hawaii's beaches are always a tourist attraction. Our next stop is at the Hawaii's Volcano National Park. Here, you can watch the landscape change before your eyes, as it is home to one of the few active volcanoes on Earth, Kilauea. The park was founded in 1916 and encompasses 333,000 acres of land. Here you will find many hiking trails through volcanic craters, scalded deserts and rainforests, a museum, a walk-in lava tube, and two active volcanoes, Mauna Loa and Kilauea. Mauna Loa last erupted in 1984, and Kilauea has been erupting since January 3, 1983. Kilauea is sometimes referred to as the world's only drive-in volcano, as it produces 250,000 to 650,000 cubic yards of lava per day. Our next stop is at the Pearl Harbor Memorials and Museums. The tragic attacks of December 7, 1941 shook the island of Oahu and the United States forever. The lives lost in that tragic day are things that we want to remember and honor. Here in the city of Oahu, they offer a number of historical tours that cite the entrance of the United States into World War II. All of the tours take you to Pearl Harbor's Visitor Center and the USS Arizona Memorial for a time of reflection and remembrance. Within the grounds of Pearl Harbor, there are a number of exhibits, displays, museums, and memorials honoring not only the 1,177 victims of the Japanese attacks, but all of those who bravely served and World War II. The Pearl Harbor tours are designed for your convenience and to fit your schedule, so there are great opportunities to see this historical event. Our last step of the day will allow you to see into some of the Hawaiian culture. The Polynesian Cultural Center is a Polynesian-themed theme park and living museum that is located on the northern shore of Oahu, Hawaii. Here, you can visit authentic villages and mingle with natives from six Pacific cultures as they demonstrate their unique acts. The Polynesian Cultural Center also offers a variety of Polynesian-themed games and activities that test your skill and courage. You can also participate in their Hawaiian journey as you travel through waterfalls, volcanoes, mountains, and forests. Lastly, the Polynesian Cultural Center puts on a variety of shows and presentations of unique aspects of various Polynesian cultures. Safe travels to your next journey. Aloha.
Konnichiwa, and welcome to Japan, a country full of fascinating culture, history, and natural beauty. It's a perfect blend of tradition and modern lifestyles. By day, you can visit the historical spots and ancient architecture. By night, witness the many technological advances in busy city life. Any tourist can find something here that interests them. On our first stop, we will visit the modern side of Japan and its capital, Tokyo. There we can witness a stunning aerial view of the city in Tokyo Tower. From there, we will visit the two ancient Buddhist icons, the Golden Pavilion and the Great Buddha, and we'll see amazing wonder of Mount Fuji. Our first stop in the capital city of Tokyo is a populous metropolitan city like no other. A center for culture, government, and finance, it truly is the heart of Japan. People first settled here in around 3000 BC, and then it was known as a small fishing village named Edo, or estuary in English. It increased importance until around the 1700s, and the population grew to 1.1 million people. In 1868, the name was formally changed to Tokyo and became the city it is known as today. A highlight for Tokyo tourists is the Tokyo Tower, and it offers an aerial view of the city. It's maybe the best known communications and observation towers in the world. It stands at 333 meters tall. And you can see it looks a lot like the Eiffel Tower, and it is modeled after the Eiffel Tower in Paris. But it is 13 meters taller. It's also used as a transmitter for all of Tokyo's television and radio stations. Next, we travel to Kumakura City to see the Great Buddha. It's a monumental bronze statue of Amida Buddha, and is an icon for Japanese and Buddhists alike. It's located on the grounds of a Buddhist temple named Kotoken, and it was originally made in 1252. Originally, it was located inside of a temple, but in the 15th century, a tsunami had washed away the temple away completely and left it standing there. And then later, a temple was rebuilt next to it. Next, we travel to the tallest mountain in Japan, Mount Fuji. It's probably the most popular tourist attraction in all of Japan. It attracts around 200,000 people each year to come climb the summit. It's known for its famous sunset, and it helped win Japan the nickname the Land of the Rising Sun. sorry, the last time it erupted was in 1707. Next, we travel to Kyoto, Japan to see the Golden Pavilion. The Golden Pavilion is also known as Kinkakuji. Kinkakuji is a beautiful Zen Buddhist temple with surrounding gardens. The temple is called the Golden Temple because it is actually covered in gold leaf. So it helps create the reflection in the pond. You can't really see it much in this picture, but it's not the original 14th century temple that was there before. In the 1950s, it was burned down by a monk, and later this was rebuilt 5 years later. So, in conclusion, there's so many amazing places in Japan, from anywhere from the Jukudani Monkey Park for the animal lovers, or the Himeji Castle for the architecture lovers. Any tourist is bound to have an amazing time.
This leg of our journey, we will explore some of the most famous attractions in Greece. With a total landmass slightly less than that of Alabama, the 50,949 square miles includes 6,000 islands and inlets, most of which are uninhabited. In fact, only 78 of those islands populate more than 100 people living on them, while Greece itself is home to roughly 11 million people. So you may be thinking that Greece as a nation has been around for centuries and millennia. In fact, it wasn't until 1830 that Greece declared their independence from the Ottoman Empire, better known as Turkey. So here we have the Acropolis, towering 490 feet into the air, the equivalent of 29 stories. The Acropolis of Athens was built as a citadel upon which there's a large flat rock, as you can see. And this was built, by best guess, it was built in the late Bronze Age between 1570 and 1200 BC. Most people use the names Acropolis and the Parthenon synonymously, but in fact the Acropolis is the big bottom part, and the Parthenon is just one of the many monuments that are built upon this rock. So designed as a temple to the goddess Athena, construction on the Parthenon began in 447 BC and was completed in 438 with the creation of the statue of Athena and the multitude of frescoes that lined its porticos, taking another 6 years to create. The Parthenon is surely one of the most iconic monuments in modern history, rivaling Egypt's pyramids and Rome's Colosseum. It measures 228 by 101 feet, and that's slightly a little less than half of a football field. It has 46 columns, approximately 34 feet tall each. It stood actually for over 2,000 years, pretty much structurally undisturbed until 1687, when the Venetians, who still only have their blinds and a hotel casino in Vegas, were jealous and blew the lid off of it. That's why it looks the way it does today. So now the Parthenon, along with several other major structures atop the Acropolis, have been undergoing extensive renovations since Greece declared its independence. Legend has it that when trying to decide who would be the patron of the city of Athens, the populace wanted to see which one, Poseidon or Athena, would give them more, because it's all about how much you give me. So Poseidon, he struck a rock with his trident, and there sprung a well of water. It was salt water. And Athena magically materialized an olive tree, so the Greeks decided that Athena, that the olive tree was better than salt water, and she was the better gifted god, so she won. And many temples were built in the city of Athens. Athens was actually named after Athena because of this, and the surrounding countryside are dedicated to her. So next up, we don't even have to leave the next up, we don't have to leave the Acropolis. Is another such structure, the Temple of Athena Nike. While Nike was a goddess in her own right, mythologically speaking, Athena is often given the characteristics of Victoria, as Nike was sometimes referred. The original temple was built sometime in the Bronze Age, but was destroyed by the Persians, and the rebuilding process began in 449 BC and wasn't completed until 420 BC. They had a lot of wars and some budget problems back in their government, so that might sound familiar. This temple was destroyed in the same battle that took down the Parthenon some 2,000 years later. As well, it was reconstructed after emancipation from the Turks and has since been deconstructed and reconstructed twice more. It can be seen from just about everywhere in Athens and features 4 columns in the front and 4 to the back facing the entrance to the Acropolis from the Propylaea. That's another structure of antiquity, but we have to save that for another time. The original friezes that adorn the top of the temple have been taken down, and those are on display in the Acropolis Museum. An interesting note, it is believed that the statue of Athena Nike was wingless, while Nike, as a goddess of her own, is a winged goddess. Legend has it that the wings were removed in order to make it that she could never leave Athens. Kind of sad. So we have one more stop to make while we are at the Acropolis, and that is the Erechtheion. That's that picture right there. That's a complex of buildings made from marble for religious purposes and to honor both Poseidon and Athena. This is another rebuild of a former temple destroyed by an earlier war. It was designed to accommodate the uneven ground on the site, as well as to avoid many other historical monuments, including the famed olive tree, the saltwater well, as well as apparently Poseidon's trident marks on the rock they left behind. Another attribute of this fantastic structure of antiquity is the delicate nature compared to the rigidness of the surrounding buildings. Namely the Parthenon. The 6 graceful ladies appear to support the roof with their heads up there in the corner. And that's the temple's defining feature. And during the reservation, they were replaced with exact replicas. And the originals are on display in the museum. So that's pretty neat. You can actually go there and see a lot of the old pieces off the buildings that they kept. And they keep them in there preserved. So finally getting off the rock, we move on to Delphi, an area inhabited since 4000 BC. The most recognizable structure here is another temple to Athena, the sanctuary to Athena Pronaia. This is often confused with the Oracle of Delphi because it's so well preserved, but it's actually just another temple dedicated to the worship and the sacrifices for the goddess. The sanctuary and the temple of the Oracle of Apollo in Delphi lies mostly in ruins, and but it was once considered to be the center of the world. According to legend, Zeus sent 2 eagles from the edges of the universe to find the navel of the world, and this is where they met up. That's kind of interesting. So it did appear that the sanctuary was built on mystical location, as the Oracle of Delphi was the most revered of all the oracles in ancient Greece. And prominent political figures, both foreign and domestic, as well as average citizens, came to receive the wisdom and advice of this woman, or I guess it was many women down the lines. Smaller than the Parthenon at only 71 by 190 feet, the temple has only 38 columns, but they still stand a very impressive 35 feet tall. It was built in the 7th century BC and was destroyed and rebuilt several times before the oracle was cast out and the temple was finally destroyed. Our last stop in Greece, we'll visit the Theater of Apollo, which is just up the hill from the temple, and it lends itself to an incredible view of the entire sanctuary as well as the valley below. It was built in 4th century BC. It has 35 rows of seating, and it actually can hold 5,500 people. Plays, music, and poetry were all performed here until the destruction of the temple in 390 AD. So I hope your brief tour of Athens, Greece has whet your appetite for cultural exploration and that you enjoy the final destination of our trip today to merry old England.
Hi, welcome to London. Our first stop will be Buckingham Palace. The Buckingham Palace is the Queen's royal home. It's been the Queen's royal home since 1837. She also has other homes it's called Windsor Castle and Balmoor in Scotland. The Buckingham Palace is also used as an office, used for administrative work for the monarchy. In the state apartments, the Queen has visitors and guests to be entertained. Inside the palace, there are 775 rooms, even including a movie theater and a swimming pool. They even have their own police department, and they have their own post office. Outside the castle, there are 5-foot guards that guard the palace, wearing red jackets and tall furry hats called bearskins. When the first guards come out on duty, this ceremony is called the changing of the guards. Our next stop is the Tower of London. For over 900 years, the Tower of London has been standing guard over the capital. Built by William the Conqueror following his successful invasion of England in 1066. The Tower of London is used as many things like a prison, a royal zoo, the crown of jewels. Used as a prison, people were brought from the river to the tower where they would be tried in front of a crowd for their verdict on whether they should be publicly executed. The executor would stand over the prisoner and he would point his axe towards the victim, and that would mean that they're guilty, and if not, he would point it away so that they knew that he wasn't guilty. Many of the prisoners were entered through the Traitor's Gate. The White Tower is the oldest part of the fortress and was built on the site of Norman. Today, the Tower of London houses on the Crown of Jewels and is open to the public as a museum. There's a myth that there's these ravens that live over the Tower of London, and there's a myth that if they fly away from there, that the Tower of London is gonna crumble and that there's gonna be disaster to England. Our next step is to the Tower Bridge. The Tower Bridge has stood over the River Thames in London since 1894. It is the London Bridge that you see in movies and advertising on the literature books. The bridge is the only Thames bridge which can be raised. The middle section is open for large vessels to pass. It used to be raised 50 times a day, but they changed it to 4 to 5 times a week. The bridge was officially opened on June 30th, 1894 by the Prince of Wales and his wife. We are now at the end of our tour, and I hope you all have a safe flight home.
After this opportunity of traveling around the world and learning about the different countries, cultures, and ancient history, we can observe the differences between each country and culture. In this world, there is a lot of places to visit and get out of your usual routine to explore, learn, and inspire yourself. From beautiful beaches to dangerous natural attractions like volcanoes, there is an attraction for everyone in every country and every personality. Thank you.